What is up? In the last video, I had covered the Pacwa and the hexagram. It has some basic about how was it related to the prediction. Feel free to go back if you never watched it before. In this video, I will talk about 5 elements. Maybe you have watched some other videos regarding 5 elements on another channel, but keep watching mine till the end. I'll promise you will learn a very big key concept you never learned before. In the 系辞传, one yin and one yang is what is called wei. It means nothing in the universe can be self-sustained. The good thing always comes with a bad thing, and a bad thing always comes with a good thing. Or perhaps, in the philosophy of I Ching, we shouldn't say it good or bad. Good or bad doesn't really exist from the universe, but from the human. The way or the Tao, we said it has to be in this way, or else the universe will never be sustained. The Tao or the way here is a very deep philosophy that needs some time to really understand how it works. If you have learned 八字 before, you may still get what does it really means. In order to make this video easy to understand, you may think of the Tao here consists of both very basic yin and yang. With yin and yang, it evolves further into 5 elements. With the 5 elements, we can basically make all the necessary predictions. 5 elements represent all the elements in the universe. It can apply to the body, from the external part to your internal organ, your house, from a big mansion to a small room. It can also apply to a vehicle, from a big truck to a bicycle. It can also apply to something that cannot be seen, like your taste bud or emotion. Download this cheat sheet from my website so that you have a rough idea of what is 5 elements about. Make use of these elements to observe, matching, and applies. Then you can ultimately find the correct way for your destiny. The only way to master your destiny is to understand your elements. Or we can say it techie, the only way or real way to make yourself a lot of money, you gotta understand how 5 elements work. I know the world now started to rely on big data, but I can tell you responsibly that big data still can't replace the 5 elements. There are many versions of saying regarding the sequences of 5 elements. However, it is not important to discuss in this video series. What you need to understand is only the generating and restriction cycle sequence. It has nothing wrong to start a sequence with any elements, but to be more aptly to the original designation of 5 elements, we should start a sequence from the wood, then the fire, the earth, the metal, and then water is the last. This clockwise movement is the generating sequence. In a very simple explanation, you can think that the generating process is a kind of growing, while the restriction process is a kind of limitation to your growth. Let's see how shall we memorize the generating and restriction cycle. Please bear in mind that the following example is absolutely not the original way to explanation of the 5 element cycles. The original way of explanation that fits the correct framework of 5 element designation will only be explained in my paid course. However, there is one very important concept I can share here is the wood element here doesn't necessarily mean the wood from the tree, or the water element doesn't necessarily mean to the H2O. Wood from the tree is from the wood element and H2O is from the water element. This is the true and correct concept of 5 elements. Let's start the generating cycle from the wood. Wood generates fire. This is easy, right? Just imagine the wood as a real wood that generating the fire that burns. Then once the fire becomes ash, it turns into earth. Inside the earth, there are so many minerals that are metal. Last will be the liquid or the water that melted from the metal. Then the water will again be making the tree or the wood becoming nourishing. If you are kind of observer, you will find that the giver tends to be sacrificed. This is one of the important concepts to the 5 elements as well. Giver sacrifice to make the receiver stronger. Inside this generating cycle is a star-shaped restriction cycle. It explains how is the restriction cycle happening. Let's start from the wood as well. Wood is restricted by the metal, just like the chainsaw that's full of metal chopping down the tree. But metal will be also get restricted by the fire. Too much heat will melt the metal. When there is too much heat, you can take it down by the water like a firefighter. When the water never stops, it will become flooded and keep smashing out the properties until they melt up the wall, which is made from the earth. Lastly, the wood from the bushes will make the earth or the soil becoming friable. In restriction cycle, if you could use it wisely, you could stop the bad growing. This is how Chinese medicine basic theory is being formed. Now I have made a very simple explanation and the way to memorize the 5-element cycle. Again, bear in mind this explanation doesn't fit to its original framework. If you wanted to master Chinese metaphysics better, including feng shui, 八字, face reading, or even Chinese medicine, you need to understand the original framework. That is another very important concept that I need to tell you here. People always had a misconception that generating means good and restriction always means bad. Always remember the Wei or the Tao. Too much or too less is the key to unfavorable. Yin and Yang need to be balanced. When something good is too much, we need to restrict it. Just like when you're having too much good food every day, if you keep getting generated, you will definitely be getting a health concern very soon. On another side, if the criminals had no law constraint, the world now will become very evilized. I don't mean to attack any person here, but if you learn something saying that the restriction is for sure a bad thing, then you better re-evaluate, are you learning from the right person? From this theory, now you will understand how to explain something good or bad in the prediction. But for remedies or severity wise, good or bad always not enough. Like I always said, how good is considered good enough? Your definition and my definition are different. If asking about investing in a new business, for you, perhaps making 200 grand annually is very good. But for another person, maybe only 2 million annually is considering a good business. For feng shui, you need to put a bucket of water at the corner. How much water is enough? 500 ml or 5 gallons of water. Just knowing the necessitate or eliminate is always not enough. You need to understand the dosage. A correct dosage will make the necessitate and the eliminate in just enough. Not too much and not too less. Following to the rules of the universe, which is the way of one yin and one yang. Just like the criminals, too linear will not stop the criminals, but too much strict rules will also stress out the people. However, the dosage needs are something very deep and will only be taught in my expert level paid course. For now, you just need to have this concept is more than enough. Before you go, remember to go to my website and download the 5-element cheat sheet. Link is provided at the description area. If you have anything wanted to know, comment down below or else give me a thumbs up and share out my video. I'll see you in the next video.